Greetings and salutations. Thank you for lending an ear to the Voice of the Times this Tuesday, April 6, 2021. For today's editorial, people need convincing justification for unending quarantine. Health officials and government communicators should not just surrender to laziness and cliché in justifying or explaining the government's decision to impose another week of the Enhanced Community Quarantine or ECQ scheme on the National Capital Region and 4 adjoining provinces. This restrictive intervention, which government itself calls a lockdown, has now ruled the designated areas continuously for an entire year. Yet, nothing in the record shows that ECQ has been remotely effective in containing the pandemic or even just in slowing it down. But here we are today being presented by government with more of the same prescription, band-aid, and motley rules to wrestle down the coronavirus pandemic. We submit the following thoughts on this matter. First, it is not enough for our health authorities to say that the quarantine or lockdown is for the people's or society's good, or that ECQ is in their best interest. Second, it will not suffice either for them to simply say that because of the steady rise in the daily count of new COVID cases, sometimes recording new record highs for a single day, government is now constrained to impose the strictest quarantine or lockdown in Metro Manila and surrounding areas as a practical measure to break the surge in infections. The volleyball game between COVID-19 and our health authorities has been going on for such a long time that our people are clamoring today for a cogent and convincing explanation of the policy. They want a policy that works and can really justify the sacrifices asked of them. Our people need to be convinced that there is a coherent and fact-based rationale for the ECQ policy measure and that it points to a time when the policy will succeed in bringing relief or breathing room during the pandemic. Legal paternalism does not justify itself by saying that it seeks to improve the lives of the citizens. It presents a view of the role of government that in some cases, the government knows what is best for its citizens even if they don't know themselves. For example, some governments require drivers to wear a seatbelt and force those who do not to pay a fine. While such policies may have good intentions, there are several problems with paternalistic policymaking. First, government policy may not work and may yield negative, unintended consequences. Second, government policy opens the door to special interest groups which may seek to alter policy to benefit themselves at the expense of society as a whole. Third, government policies may undermine individual freedoms and autonomy. This is the crux of the problem concerning the government's policy response in the pandemic. Sometimes, it has interfered too much with the actions and decisions of individual citizens. It has been too engrossed with policing the behavior of the people. People generally think of themselves as the best judge of their own interest. This is a key part of the democratic idea of the citizen as a self-governing and rational individual. You cannot sweep this away in one swoop with an order for them to stay or work at home. On the other hand, it is also clear that the citizen cannot fight the pandemic all by himself or herself. He or she has to link arms with the rest of society and the government to cope with the emergency. Government must lead the way in the decision-making on protecting public health and in setting in programs in place such as vaccine acquisition, COVID testing, and equipping the health system with all that is necessary to face the crisis. This is not a one-way conversation of government issuing the orders and of the citizens bowing to its will and its rules. They have to pull together to survive this emergency together. And that's the editorial for Tuesday, April 6, 2021. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to our digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and listen to the Voice of the Times.